Liverpool drop more points. They stay 6th in the league. Leeds United, they really came out fighting in that second half, trying to prove a point, maybe. Hit that like and this share button. Let's go, people. Welcome back to the Terrace. Leeds United won, Liverpool won. But I see it in the comments and I do ask the question, does it even matter anymore? Between now and the end of the season, 6 games remaining for Liverpool Football Club. It's going to be very, very intriguing to see the way everything sort of pans out with the Super League proposals, Champions League positions. This should be a day where Liverpool fans are feeling disappointed. They were sitting in 4th until conceding a very late goal to Llorente in this game, but they're moving to 6th position. But what is the actual feeling of football fans now at this moment in time after the big Super League announcements? I want your views and opinions, but we also want to discuss the game with you tonight. I want to know how you think and feel the performance was from a Liverpool point of view, what you saw that was good, what was poor. Because I do care. It is still important for us to talk about football. There's no doubt about it. Chad here says, I'm a Chelsea fan, not even watching tomorrow. Let me just say this now from the off here. Don't be too sure that the Super League starts. Don't be too sure that Champions League positions do not matter. Don't be too sure that there isn't going to be a U-turn in this. We are seeing capitalism fight capitalism here. And it's a power struggle. It's about making more money, as an example. And the positions in the league may end up counting. But I was thinking about that while watching the game. Imagine the league is just about winning it. Imagine there's no top 4. The great thing about the Premier League is, depends on the size of your club. You've got a title race sometimes, top 4 race, Europa League race for the team just below it, and a relegation battle. There's so many nuances to a league season that are brilliant. Imagine it just being about winning or going down. You're going to have so many more dead rubbers. So this big new league, Super League, might be great. But the league in it, I was thinking about it tonight. Once you get to about mid-season, there's no point watching anymore. Like, there's almost no point watching for teams that are not in the title race are not going to get relegated. It's pointless. I want people's views and opinions on that. On Liverpool tonight, though, I felt it was the story of the season for Liverpool Football Club. I really did. The better team in the first half, cut through Leeds United at will. I thought Leeds were off pace. They weren't moving the ball. They put Liverpool under almost no pressure whatsoever. And then the second half begun, and between the first, I think Liverpool had a chance to score very early on in the first half, like within a minute. And they didn't have a shot again. I want to get the details right here. Their next shot after that came in like the 77th minute of the game. Leeds United went through a period where they just dominated the ball and they couldn't get out. And this has been very much the story of Liverpool's season this year. Good in spells, not clinical enough, not putting games to bed, and it being unable to... I want to make sure I say this in the right way. Just not being able to see things through, finish their dinner, getting the job done. They remind me this season, Liverpool, of you get a good builder in your house, right? They build the back wall, they lay the slabs nice, but they don't do the finishing touches. It always looks a bit naff because they're just not putting it to bed. The job's never really done. The finishing isn't particularly good. Comment here from Tottenham Hotspur, who says, Tottenham nil, Southampton 3 incoming because I'm now a Villa fan, is what he's saying there. Liverpool were average tonight, is what Mo says. Leaving the ECA equals no European football. Listen, guys, like I've said, I've listened tonight to different channels and I've listened to two chairmen speak and some real senior people in the game of football, not journalists, not presenters that are sort of looking for shock value, but football minds that know more about the game than you and I put together. And they've spoke about a power struggle. They spoke about a negotiation tactic. And although UEFA and the Premier League may say right now, if you leave, you're out forever, that isn't going to happen. They will welcome these teams back. I do that if that's how the decision goes. But like I'm saying right now, I wouldn't put all my money right now on this Super League happening, and there not being a bit of a happy medium found from both parties is what I would say. Shane here says, does it really matter to any football game anymore? What's the point? I'm done with United. I'm going to become a Villa supporter like my best friend. That is what Shane is saying out there. Are you all going to feel like this when it actually kicks off, though? I'm asking that as a genuine question to you all. Man like Gangadeep here says, awful second half performance, Leeds worthy of a point, questionable decision making, too slow on the counter. Listen, I agree with you, Gangadeep. Liverpool, it's just a story of Liverpool season this year. Not good enough. And if Bamford was on form tonight, and I also want to say it was Roberts, they had opportunities to kill this game off. They should have, Leeds should have been drawing or ahead before they got the equalizer in the dying moments. Leeds were, just a little bit more quality from Leeds today, and it could have been a very different result indeed. Daniel here says, same old Liverpool. It might still count, but right now it feels like it doesn't. The result feels secondary to everything going on in the game right now. And I hear you on that one, my friend. I truly do. Guyan29 here says, Terry, remember when you heard it first? This Super League will not happen. FIFA or UEFA won't approve it. They need approval. It's not even just that. If UEFA and FIFA follow through with their threats, the players might not want to be in it. Can't play for their country if they're not in a league. Like, there's so many factors to this that are unanswered as of yet. We've had Jurgen Klopp come out, not unequivocally condemn it, but talk about how he still wants to be in the Champions League, supporting the fans. We're going to hear from managers at the right times. So there isn't going to be a press conference call to address these matters. You won't hear from Ollie probably until Friday when he does his press conference. So don't expect it to be before Friday. We heard from Tuchel today that I think just kept that door open for everything to go back to normal, kept it professional, and spoke very articulately. And that's how it's going to be. That is how this is going to be for the time being, because you know what's going to happen as well? The players and the managers are still learning about what's going on. They haven't been briefed on this yet in its entirety. Lamin says, feels like my first love football cheated on me. Please somehow explain to me when it's not handball, a penalty. Leeds should have had a penalty tonight. Liverpool fan, by the way, hashtag boycott Europa Super League. Do you know what? I think the reason the penalty wasn't given, it's a great point to bring up. The reason that penalty wasn't given tonight, in my opinion, is because it wasn't an unnatural position and he was trying to move his hand out of the way. That's harsh to give that as a penalty for me. His arm wasn't moving towards the ball. It wasn't blocking the ball from running onto anybody. I wouldn't have given it, but I do hear your point, and you're a Liverpool fan saying that. All right, Adam D, chill out. The winner Paul here says, Terry, does it matter for us? Champions League will be played next season with top four. No one will talk about this season. This game came at the worst day for us, but Leeds are quality, deserved even to win. Listen, I don't know in relation to next season. It's so up in the air. The timing's awful. I hear you right now. It's probably Liverpool fans. Do you feel like between a rock and you don't know whether to celebrate or be sad or just be or whatever? Not celebrate in the sense of this is what I don't understand about this new concept, and I need clarity. You're gonna have dozens and dozens and dozens of games a year like this that just don't matter. If you're not in the title race, winning doesn't matter. It's mad, isn't it? When you just say it out like that and think about it, it doesn't matter. Comment Leeds full-time tweet. I haven't seen Leeds full-time tweet. Let me go take a look at this. I love chatting to you guys, actually. I do like chatting to you. You're out here. Let's see what it says. Leeds United. Let's go and have a little look here. What they write. Full-time LFC holds Super League side Merseyside Reds to a 1-1 draw. Wow, what a tweet. What a tweet by Leeds United. And do you know what's interesting? You know, I know the Liverpool team bus today was given a sort of hostile welcoming by Leeds United fans, and we all know it isn't the players and managers that have made this decision, but this is also something that can help football in this regard, because at the end of the day, the players are going to feel the brunt of this. The players are going to feel the brunt of this, not the owners. And maybe that will trigger. Maybe that will trigger a response. Maybe that will trigger a response and a reaction from the players and managers to push back even harder. I think the next 24 to 48 hours is going to be very, very interesting to see what kind of happens moving forward. Let's do some more of these comments here. I want to know what you're thinking and feeling. Make sure you're hitting that like button, supporting the Terrace, please. Merseyside Reds in the mud. Maybe we should do that on the Terrace. Maybe what we should do until the end of the season is rename all of the Super League teams. So you've got Merseyside Reds, the Red Devils of Manchester, the Blue Moon Citizens, we'll call them. We'll call them, what do we call Tottenham? The North London White Sox. Arsenal can be the North London Red Sox, and the final team is Chelsea. We'll call them what should we call Chelsea? What should we call Chelsea? The Blue Lions. That's what we'll call them. That's their teams until the end of the season. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Thank you very much for a comment there. Where's it gone from Midu? It says, big up, Terry. I love watching TFT. And we will be here. We are not going anywhere. We'll continue to cover football. We will make a decision depending on what happens around what we cover as a football club. Premier League, we'll still cover European football. We still want to know what's going on because I'm sure there's going to be enough interested parties. That's going to be important for us to do. West London Blues. Yeah, I think Blue Lions is the Blue Lions of London. There you go. It's got to sound really naff. That's the point. It's got to sound awful. That's the point. ENT says, lucky the fans weren't in the grounds. Leeds fans are nutters. They're very lucky, these football clubs. They're very, very lucky indeed. Stephen here says, you're going to get this every game now for the top 6 teams. Could really see United bottling big-time players. Don't do good under pressure. I hear you. I hear you on that. That really could become a genuine issue at this moment in time. There's no doubt about it. I want you all to come on and have your say, though. We are talking about the game and all that jazz. I'm going to share the link right now on the Discord server. I want to know what you thought of the performance tonight and everything else. Keep them super chat questions coming in as well for us. Just waiting for the Discord server to open. We're going to post it on the general chat page. So go across to the Discord now. If you're not part of our Discord server, why? That's my genuine question for you. Why are you not? Get yourselves over there. Did I just do that again? I do that all the time. I think I'm about to share it and then I delete the damn link because I'm getting old, right? And I'm legitimately turning into a technophobe. That one. There you go. That's been shared over there right about now. Let's see some more of your comments. Here. Cheers for having me on the stream earlier. Not a problem at all, Christopher. Not a problem at all. Man like Effie in the house here. It says, what's your take on Rooney defending the owners? I've seen briefly Rooney's comments. I haven't read them in its entirety. What the few I read is him basically saying, let's wait to see the wood for the trees before we judge it. I think Rooney's just being very, very political here in the sense of, let me just wait to see what this actually looks like, what this actually means before I now my opinions to the mast, as it were. You also got to remember he's employed by Derby County, and not that he's restrained in relation to what he can say, but there'd have probably been a briefing that's gone out to employed coaches tonight and managers of football clubs to say, keep your counsel, keep it professional. We don't want to get dragged into the mire here. So that's the problem when someone's in that kind of position. There's always an element of PR involved with these things. There's no doubt. We're going to go to some of these calls now. We want to know what people are thinking. Lamin here says, Blue Lions is too good a name for Chelsea. # traitors. Lamin's really sticking it to Chelsea at the minute. He is not an happy man. Terry, I think the UK government can stop the English teams from participating by enforcing 51% fan ownership and refusing work permits for players. Can you imagine if this goes in the opposite direction to what these owners think and they end up having to sell the lion's share or all these clubs? Can you imagine? Because surely the government, do you know the one thing, I don't know this is to be a fact, this is me surmising. Having had Brexit happen, I swear now the UK is free to just make its own laws. It doesn't need to get them signed off by the European Union. So that could happen, you know. That could happen. And I'm sure they'll find a precedent for it. Who'd have thought that you'd have got... This is just mad. I actually think Sadiq Khan and Boris Johnson agree on a subject matter for once. It's mad. Gary Turner says that Tampon Bay Reds is what Gary Turner said. And we want that to you from you tonight. We're going to do a bit of a competition tonight. Tonight, actually, I think. And it'll be a little bit of fun for us. If we reach 1,000 likes, the best super chat name for one of the top six teams. So like that one there, the Tampon Bay Reds, the best super chat name, 5. We're gonna set Gary's as the benchmark there as 5. So it's got to be at least the same as Gary. The best one I'm gonna pick at the end, and I will buy you a football shirt of your choice. We'll get that done for you, but it's got to go past 1,000 likes. Actually, I'll change that. Let's say 700 likes. We'll do 700 likes. Hit that like button and get those super chats in now, people. Samuel here says the European Super League offers FT a hefty contract to cover them. FT, I don't know what FT means. Oh, the Football Terrace, a hefty contract to cover them. What's your answer? Regarding the game today, my mind is not even on it. Need a couple of magnums. Love the Terrace. If they asked us to cover it and we were the chief broadcasters. Look, I'm not in a privileged position like these billionaire club owners and these football players and whatever. If there was a good enough offer, I'm not going to lie to you, I would look at it and consider it because I've got children to feed, futures to think about and stuff like that. But like any of these things, I wouldn't want to work anywhere that didn't make me feel happy or comfortable or sort of on an ethical basis. But listen, they're not going to do that anyway, so it becomes elementary. The reason I won't say no, I won't do it, because life has a weird habit of throwing things in your face. But listen, as I say, it's I'm not going to say no, because imagine they offered me the opportunity to and then I do it, then I'm a hypocrite. But it's not going to happen anyway. Make sure you're hitting that like and share button. TFT. Like, yes, sorry, bro. There we go. I understood it in the end. We're going to go to your calls now to get you on to have your say. Terry, you sold out. Listen, man, it's not about selling out. It's see what the offer is. Imagine I'm like, no, I wouldn't do it. And there's £5 million in your back pocket. I can't lie to you. I can't say I wouldn't say yes. I can't say that, bro. Do you know what I mean? And that's just the way life is. That's just the way life is. They're going to get Tom Little on first. Have you say, Tom, welcome back to the Terrace, mate. Firstly, what did you make of your team's performance tonight?
I was sat there watching the game, and all I could think of was our attack this season. The only thing I can compare it to is like an old man trying to get it on. We're dead good at all that foreplay stuff. We're dead good at the build-up. And then when it comes to actually finally getting it at the end, when the pressure's on you, when you've got to actually deliver, we crumble. It's not there. It's dysfunctional. It's awful. And I just cannot get why we've suddenly collapsed like this in an attacking sense, because it's the defence that's collapsed. But my main issue is the midfield, and not because it was bad today, but because I feel with this with this system that Klopp has, the way we have to get the fullbacks involved, we will never evolve past the midfielder of the role of Milner and Henderson, because we need players like that to simply cover. Otherwise, we get rings round like what happened in that second half with Jack Harrison. We were getting battered.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I call it friend zone football. You're almost there, but you're not quite there, and it just and the other team goes along and scores. In terms of Jurgen Klopp's comments before the game, how did that make you feel as a Liverpool fan?
Proud is the word I'm going to use, but I don't know if it's the right word. He said all he could do. He's got handcuffs on. I know it doesn't seem like that, but his job was on the line with what he said there. You know, if he said something out of line, he could have been sacked. I mean, James Milner's just done his post-match interview and said he don't want the European Super League. He said that bluntly because he's got a little bit more protection. It's a bit harder to sack the player. The manager is very easy to get rid of.
And James Milner is at the end of his contract. He probably may leave in this summer anyway, so it's easier for him to say it. But it's good to see these players. I'm just seeing them comments now as well. Yeah, I don't like it, and I hope it doesn't happen. Patrick Bamford's comments tonight are even stronger in relation to this. And he says, this is Patrick Bamford in his interview after the game. He said, it's amazing the amount of uproar when somebody's pocket is being hurt. It's a shame this doesn't happen with issues like racism. And do you know what? We've had DT on the show today speaking about the exact same thing. And it's right. Where is this uproar, this outrage from the governing bodies and even the TV companies and broadcasters to a degree when it's a racial issue, which is far more damaging to this to this league, to this country, to society than this league element ever has been. There's no doubt about it. But it's good to see players standing up against this now 100%. And making their statements.
It's that fact, though, right? The reason why it doesn't get enough coverage is because it doesn't make them enough money. And the fact that that's getting involved with social issues now is beyond a joke. We need to draw the line.
Bro, mate, we've done many streams on the terrace over the years tackling issues to do with racism, and every time we do it, it's the traction isn't great in terms of the interactions with it and the amount of comments we get from people. It's like, oh, stop this. Oh, speak about football. Oh, bored of this. I just sort of sit there and think, wow, people just don't want to hear about it. That's why it doesn't get the traction, and it's why it doesn't make
people want to be ignorant to it. People want to act like it's not a thing, but it's a real thing, and we have to tackle it.
No doubt at all, mate. No doubt at all. Listen, mate, really appreciate you coming on, having your say again this evening. Tom, top man, speak to you again soon. I want all your thoughts and feelings on what Jurgen Klopp has said, James Milner, and to quote him again, I don't like it, and I hope it doesn't happen. James Milner has stood up against this decision tonight. Will more players follow? I'm sure they will when they have the right opportunity to speak. Comment here says People's Red Club Traitors is the name he would use. Keep your American names coming in. I'm going to pick a winner at the end of the night and buy them a shirt. As long as we go over the 700 like mark, get that done right now for us, people. Little target for you. Another super chat here. Another wonderful super chat says, Terry, I feel drained by this ESL drama. As a Chelsea fan, I'm worried that this will affect the motivation of the players in the remaining games. And it may very well do. It may very well do indeed. It may very well do, because what's the incentive now? What was the incentive tonight for Liverpool to bust a gut? Theoretically, Liverpool season's done now. They're out of all the cup competitions and top four doesn't matter. So on paper right now, Liverpool may as well not turn up. It's the end of Liverpool fan season. It's the whole thing stinks. The Manchester Yankees that's a good one. You know, that seems fitting there. The Manchester Yankees. I like that. We've got Rack back with us now. Rack, what you saying, mate?
Hey guys. Yeah, look, in terms of what Klopp said, yeah, I mean, the guy before me was right. He said as much as he could say, but I was thinking about it, and Klopp is the leader of the club in a football sense. And I would, even though I think him and FSG and Mike Gordon, the guys, have a good relationship, I think I would feel a bit betrayed in the sense that I'm the leader of the football side of this. If you want to call it a company, you can call it a company, club, brand, whatever. All those different terminologies that are used in different contexts. But ultimately, I'm the leader of this football club in a footballing sense, and I'm hearing about this like, I don't know, 2-3 hours before everybody else. That doesn't sit right with me. And, at the very least, they should have sought some of his input. Obviously, there's commercial impact and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a bit sad, to be honest. I felt sad.
I agree. The players have learned about. Someone said on earlier stream, certain players at certain clubs have been tweeting or messaging Fabrizio Romano about it. And I'm not sure if that's UK players or players from Italy, but saying, what's going on? We know nothing about this. It's an absolute shambles. And if Jurgen Klopp wasn't consulted, I saw Melissa Reddy did an article earlier where a tagline was, the Man United owners don't care about Sir Alex Ferguson's opinion. The Liverpool owners don't care about Klopp's opinion. Do you really think they're going to care about yours? And this is so true. And if people really don't want this to happen, action has to come. An action on your feet. Action from your back pockets. Things being spent. The problem is, and I know it was brought up again on the earlier stream, and I've been thinking about it since it was said. I think there's a fairly high percentage of Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool fans that may not want to say this publicly yet, but don't care. And they're like, sounds great to me, because it's like, I think in their heads, it's permanent Champions League football, amazing. But look at tonight as an example. If you're not in a title race, your club could have 20 games a season that are like tonight that don't mean anything. Imagine there's no more top 4 race, no more Europa League.
That incentive, I agree. That incentive is gone. Like, there's going to be like 10 teams per group of the Champions League in this Champions League. Apparently, now if you're in the bottom half of that, in the bottom 4, what do you play for? Really, you haven't got to fight for survival. You haven't got to fight to get into the quarterfinal stage, or however they're going to do it. It's just it will leave some dead rubbers. And yeah, to be honest, we looked a bit flat today. Like the guy previously said to me, we played okay in terms of approach play, but we didn't have any cutting edge, and it's been like that for a while now. And it seems like I think we needed to win. We could perhaps afford to drop points in one game, perhaps the Man United game. The fact that we've dropped points now in this game as well, I think it makes it really, really difficult for us to top 4.
Imagine
if it matters.
No, yeah, if it matters, and do you know what? Like I've said, there's this element of you need to think it matters, because if there's a U-turn, which I know some people keep saying, no, you've all left you left UEFA and left this and left that, but there's still this part of me. I listened to Parrish speak earlier, and he spoke about a lot of things that I brought up, not because I'm in the know, but I've read these in the past, that he basically brought up and said, these big clubs have been making these plays in our meetings for years about wanting more money, wanting more of the lion's share, etc. And it almost just feels like this time it's like, well, we're going to call the Premier League and UEFA's bluff now and look like we're doing something. And who knows what can happen from this. But imagine it goes west or south, or whatever the expression, I think it might be south. And imagine it goes south and suddenly there's a U-turn, but Liverpool and Chelsea's heads are turned because of this thing, and they drop points, and then they don't make it in the Champions League. You sort of look at it and think to yourself, you could end up like messing next season up by taking your eye off the ball now.
And players are human, right? That kind of stuff does happen. It happens to people in everyday life. So it's very easy to say, focus, try and win this game. Klopp can try all his motivational stuff. Ultimately, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And obviously, when you're not in great form, it doesn't help. I did just want to say one other thing, Tel, if you don't mind. It's kind of like what Steve Parrish was talking about, but one of the other things that's come across, and I've read it, and a lot. The TV companies, they're putting on a bit of a media campaign, and obviously they're trying to take the fan side, but it does also stink a little to me about self-interest. And what's really kind of hit home is that everybody, and I'm not talking about the big clubs, I'm also talking about the smaller Premier League clubs. I'm talking about the football, the broadcasters. They may try and wrap it up as, oh yeah, we want the best for football, but really what they really want is self-interest. Like, West Ham, like last season, they were calling for the league to be null and voided, so that they didn't have to worry about potentially getting relegated. And I live in East London. I've got loads of mates who are West Ham fans.
Yeah,
and it's stuff like that just kind of show that.
But it does, and then people. That's why I said earlier, it's capitalism fighting capitalism is fighting capitalism. Who I want to protect in all of this is the local businesses, the smaller clubs, the local clubs, the non-league clubs that need to be protected in this. That are not really at the forefront of the argument or the debate, but they will be the individuals that are cut adrift if money stops coming in, if there's a collapse, as an example. And of course, if there's, think about this, and this is the thing about the business side of it. If you're just say Arsenal, there's loads of businesses local to Arsenal that have suffered in the last year, like many others around the country, because fans haven't been going to games. There's a cafe I've eaten in many, many times when I've been filming at the Emirates and stuff. And I just think, I remember talking to the woman, she said, yeah, like they do something like 70% of their annual trade is match day. So yes, there'll be matches at home and they may stay in the Premier League. But are you going to sell the Emirates out? Say Arsenal were sitting 6 with 12 games to go, but they're 18 points off the league title, and there's no need to fight for top 4. Are you going to sell that game out every week? Is it going to be the hustle and bustle atmosphere that's needed to make those local businesses owned by normal working class people money? No, it isn't, because we go to these games. Like, this is how you know that, entertainment is a part of football, but match-going fans go to watch their team try to win and be competitive and enjoy it. And if it's a dead rubber because it doesn't matter, there is no point. It becomes nonsensical. It really, really does. And I don't even know. And again, this is non-footballing people making footballing decisions. I don't think they've thought that element through. Like, I've been sitting there this evening watching the game thinking, that's the bit that worries me. The Super League in itself, I can get to grips with. In terms of forget all the money for a minute and the ramifications. It's the league is going to be boring because there's only so many teams each year that will be in a title race. And if anybody thinks and is stupid enough to think, well, with all this extra money, all 6 teams will compete for the title with each other. If that was the case, if you could guarantee it now that all 6 teams would be neck and neck all season for a title, again, my points then.
Then makes a bit of a difference. Yeah.
We know that isn't going to happen. It just in reality will not happen. And you could have half those teams that are just in dead rubber games. And you might, by the way, if you're down in the bottom half of the Super League as well, you're going to have a lot of shitty games. You're not going to make it in the playoffs anyway.
Imagine a case where you started fobbing off playing the kids in the Super League and playing your first team in the Premier League. That would also be weird. Like, you could have
this is what now starts to happen when you calm down. You start to think about it in reality. And maybe it's because we haven't been given enough clarity, but I'm like, this don't make sense. I don't see how it works from a competitive angle. And it blows into it for me. And maybe it's how I consume football. So when I watch Liverpool play tonight, I'm a content creator. So I do want controversy. And I mean, was that a goal? Was it a penalty? Why was Trent bad? Why was Alioski awful? Like, I want things to happen so we can discuss football. That's what it's about. But if there was no, I do watch it to be entertained, but I'm entertained by watching 2 teams be competitive with each other and try to win. Yes, there's side dishes of, that football is beautiful and this team play excellently. But I'm enthralled regardless because of the competitive. If you remove a lot of the competitive nature, the entertainment goes. You're basically watching I don't want to watch freestyle footballers do kick-ups. They've got great skill. I don't care about that. I care about competitiveness. And I don't know, for me, I feel like that might go in this. Rack, listen, mate, great call. Thanks very much for coming on. Take care, bro. There's a comment here from Owen who says Merseyside Dolphins, serious divers on that team. Can't forget about the white 69ers. When was the last time they actually won the league? I think Spurs won the league about 50 or so years ago. We had another super chat that came in here from Alex. I may have missed, I skipped off the page, but hopefully I can read this out still. I'm sorry, Alex, it's disappeared. I will get it on another screen. I don't like missing super chats, and I was talking for a long time there. Someone here says hypocrisy everywhere. That is from Danny. I'd love to know what you mean by hypocrisy everywhere. Tell me. Super chat from Alexander. I'll read it out as I've then put it up. It says, I hate the idea of a Super League, which is just for the rich elite. But why are clubs who may choose to join potentially going to be stripped of their previous trophies? Is that fair? I think it's not so much about being fair. It's about punishing people. I think that's what it comes down to. It's about punishing people and making a stand and saying, you know, we're going to take everything away from you that you hold dear. I think that's it. To make the fans, I think it's to try and shock people into trying to stop it. That's how it feels from me, from the kind of outside looking in. Grey Wolf Dinner said, read my super chat. Where is your super chat? I didn't. Oh, there it is. It says, for Chelsea, the Blue Waffles, as my club, they are acting like a bunch of messed up fannies. Sorry, I must have missed that one as well tonight. The Blue Moon Broncos. I kind of like, it's pretty good. I like the Blue Moon Broncos. What's going on, man? Like Jem, I hope you're well. My brother, I hope you're well. We've got Gooner Express coming on next. We have another super chat just come through. I'm going to try and get these up as and when they come through now from Lamin, who says Blue Lions is too good a name for Chelsea. Hashtag traitors. He's on their throats tonight. Lamin is not happy with Chelsea at all. Let's get Gooner Express on the show. What you saying, mate?
Yeah, how you doing, Terry?
Yeah, I'm okay, mate. What's on your mind?
Obviously, the Super League. Obviously, massive topic for football right now. But I think the one thing that a lot of people will soon realise is no matter what we think about it, no matter how we say we're not going to support our teams, this and that, or we're not going to watch, they know we're going to watch. They know that, you know, they've got answers for everything. They've been doing this for 15, 20 years now, making this plan. And we know that because the likes of Vega said this in 2009, that they would predict, you know, he predicted they were going to do this. So for me, they will win. They will get this thing ahead because the only people I think who can stop it are the players. And the one thing I think as fans that we aren't doing is actually supporting the players enough right now. I think we as fans sometimes forget that this is their job. Imagine being in their position. They have no idea what's going on. You know, their job is on the line in a sense. You know, they have to now choose between their national team or their club team. They don't know how much they're going to get paid. They don't know what legal action they're going to be brought into. They're not being told things. Apparently, a lot of the clubs this morning told them if they don't want to play here, they can just leave. And just imagine waking up to that. Like, it's absurd, really, that these clubs would put their basically, you know, their tools. This is what these players are. They're their tools to succession, that they're putting them through so much stress.
Yeah. They are, and I meant to leave it up on the screen, but then I knocked it off again. This what Jem pulls on a good point as well. What has pissed me off the most is the timing, and I think that counts for players, managers, and of course the fans, because this is the most exciting time of the season. Maybe not, even for Liverpool right now. So you look at it now, right? If you look at this season as an example, you've got Leicester, West Ham, Chelsea, Liverpool. Maybe, you never know, with Jose gone now, there could be a resurgence, all in a top 4 race. Maybe even Everton if they win a few games in the bounce. But you got 4 or 5 teams in a top 4 race. Man United kind of clearing second and no league title race, as it were. You've got a really interesting FA Cup final as an example. You've then got teams scrapping it out for Europa League positions and an interesting fight down at the bottom. You've got 4 English teams in the semi-finals of the European Cup competitions. There is so much in the next 5 weeks to look forward to, or there was. That has, right now as it stands, gone. We don't know whether our teams are going to be in it anymore. We don't know whether it's worth even winning these trophies, because there's a report I read that the clubs are going to transfer their European success into the Super League. So Real Madrid will have 13 Super Leagues. Man United will have 3, Liverpool 6. What if they don't and they get them stripped? This is an element of some of our clubs' history could be deleted because of this, which is beyond me. It means everything we've won in the past no longer exists. It happened, but it's been removed from the record books. And the timing of it, the lack of information is the killer. So if you remove the view of it being greedy and uncompetitive, if you remove the element that it could kill football, it could destroy lower levels, it could destroy business, destroy industry. If you remove all those things there for a moment and just think about the timing of it, that in itself is a killer, because it's just it's awful. The whole process has been handled so bad, but it's been handled badly because they don't care. But equally, nor the UEFA. They don't care about us. They're sitting there. UEFA are sitting in their meetings, and I bet they haven't mentioned the fans once. What they do is they call in a PR team. We're not happy for these 5 reasons, but can you take it away and rewrite that so it sounds like we care about the fans? That's all they're doing as well. The reason BT and Sky care is because they're worried that they might not get the TV rights for this new thing, and it could damage them and their views and their bottom line. Nobody out there right now, in my opinion, cares about the fans. Even the government getting involved, it's like, oh, the businesses and the money and the tax and everything else. It's a shameful situation we're in right now. Listen, Gooner Express, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man indeed. Bart here says players will support the European Super League. In the US sport, the average player makes 30 million a year. Top Premier League salaries are 250 or 13 million pounds per year. They could do. Money talks. It genuinely does. Dinesh says, one stay 20 minutes. I stay 20 minutes walk to Wembley when the FA Cup final weekend and final. The business in area is where they make a lot of their income. They will lose out. Yeah, local businesses will, if this all goes ahead. I completely and utterly agree with you on that, my friend. Jem here says, we are in a semi-final of the Champions League and final of a cup. We are fighting for the Champions League spot. We decided to go right at the end of the season where they are still so much to play for. No logic. Yeah, it's crazy. And listen, I'm not saying you should have kept Frank Lampard, but you sacked Frank Lampard. You sacked Frank Lampard because he wasn't going to make it into the Champions League, but you're not planning on being in the Champions League. Spurs have sacked Jose Mourinho because he's not going to get him in the... Well, that's a bit more toxic, really. That's what don't make sense about any of this. That's why I still think there's a way out. There's some YouGov surveys have been done. They're on Monday Night Football now. I'm going to read these out. 79% of the public are opposed to the league, including 68% of who strongly oppose it. 76% would oppose their team joining it. Just 14% would support it. 75% said they are not interested in watching it when it begins. 3% say formation of this league was motivated mostly by fan desire. Wow, it's huge. And do you know what's interesting as well? I understand international fans, but one thing I want international fans to remember, and most, by the way, 90% of international fans I've interacted with have all said this is a disgrace and they're dead set against it. And I understand international fans and television fans make a lot of money for football. But for a lot of these football clubs, if this goes south and falls apart, there are local communities and businesses that rely upon the success of this game. It isn't just a bunch of men kicking a bit of leather around a field. It's an industry worth multiple billions of pounds a year to the income and ecosystem and economy, not the ecosystem really, the economy of this country. And I'm sure the same is in Italy. The same can be said in Spain as well. And these things need to be protected. These things are important and need to be protected at all times. I wonder what the Spanish fans and Italian fans are saying and feeling. Yeah, I'd love to know. I'd absolutely love to know. That'll be the next lot of reports that come out in relation to that, I'm sure. It says here 75% said smaller clubs in lower domestic leagues will suffer financially. 48% said players at the European Super League clubs should be banned from domestic comps. Again, that's half the people that want that to happen. That's a lot of people say it's not really the players' faults, but that may be what they get threatened with. Mark here says UEFA and FIFA are to blame for their continuously corrupt behavior. From the Qatar World Cup to the Baku final, the Super League is no answer either. Do you know what tends to happen in life when people are unhappy with representation? Is something extreme always forms. Something extreme at the opposite end of the spectrum tends to be created, because I think our sheer human nature is often to be polarized. they've got too much control. I'm going to give them no control. I don't get as much money as I want. I'm going to take all the money. They're we're so corruptible as people. You know, there's an element of this that reminds me of George Orwell's Animal Farm. It's almost like the clubs are willing for us to become what we didn't like in the first place. Animal Farm. The book, not the film. All right, lads. It's a bad film. Don't watch it. Bayern, Porto, and Dortmund could return to the Champions League this season and replace the Super League clubs. I've heard that rumor as well. And that's the right thing to do. That might be the way they might be speaking to sponsors and saying, listen, if we kick out the teams that are joining the Super League and we reinstate teams so you still get your semi-finals, how about that? The sponsors might go along with it. But we will see. Joshua here says that the club owners have UEFA and FIFA by the balls. That is true. That is undeniable in every single which way. Midu's coming on the line now. Midu, welcome back to the Terrace, mate. You're a Man City fan. What are you saying?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, mate. What are you saying?
Yeah, first of all, I'll talk about the game. Yeah, in the first half, I thought Liverpool played really well. Mane scored. And then the second half, Leeds United started to wake up. They had chances to score. Bamford had hit the post, and they should have won, in my opinion. Liverpool wasted their chances from Salah, from Jota. They've been, most of the games when they needed to win, they've been wasting their chances, and that is their problem. That is why they are not doing well this season. And talking about the club comments about the European Super League, I'm glad that he said that he's still against the Super League. I'm also glad that James Milner said that he doesn't want the Super League to go ahead. If the European Super League goes ahead, it will be an absolute disgrace and it will be the end of football. I really hope it doesn't go ahead. Because Arsenal and Tottenham are in the European Super League. They call it the competition European Super League, and they put Arsenal and Tottenham, and they are challenging for mid-table in the Premier League. Why they don't put West Ham or Leicester? I don't understand you.
I hear you completely, Midu. Thank you very much for coming on and having your say, mate. Just very noisy. Sounded like he was in his shower. Mohammed's on the line with us now. Mohammed, what you saying, bro?
Yeah, so very disappointing performance today. I think we should have beaten Leeds in the first half. They were there for the taking. Personally, I would have played Salah, Mane, and Jota. That would have killed the game off, I think, with a second goal. And then with the Super League, I'm very disappointed with all the teams as well, just selling out like that. And I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm very scared for next season, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp comments here. What do you make of this? If I'm a problem, I go. If I'm not, I stay. I feel responsible for this club. I think that's a bit of a veiled threat and a good one. And a good one. There's no doubt about that. Mohammed, thank you very much for coming on, bro.
Thank you for having me on.
Having your say, not a problem at all, young man. Thank you. Make sure that like button is being smashed, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. It's been a very busy few days for us. I will be back tomorrow, of course, with more content for you. Comment here says there will be a compromise between the parties involved in this mess. I think so as well. I do believe that as well. I think there will be a compromise of some sort. There's a lot of threats going on, the speed of the movement. The fact that the players and managers weren't consulted as well. It's almost like we're not really serious yet. Maybe. We'll see what happens here. We're going to Jem's backstage. We're going to have Jem on in a few moments. Before Jem, I've got young Aaron on the line. What are you saying, Aaron?
Well, if what is said to be believed and things go what we don't want to go, well, if we want to punish them, that could have been Liverpool's last game in the Premier League, depending what happens tomorrow morning. If the Premier League decides to boot out the 6 teams, it could be Liverpool's last game in the Premier League, and Sadio Mane could have scored the last Liverpool goal in the Premier League, at least for now. Look, in the first half, Leeds' defence looks a little bit ropey. You could see that with the first goal. Should the goalkeeper have come out a bit sooner than he did? It's hard to guess, to be honest, but it was a good finish by Mane. Second goal, Llorente unmarked on the back post. Good header in the back of the net. But there was a somber mood, and I think, I think if you've watched it, Terry, you'll know there was a somber mood around this game, and it felt somber because of the big topic, which is the European Super League. And, we see the Leeds fans doing the banners and the stuff, before the match, and the plane flying over Ellen Road, That's solidarity. That's solidarity from Leeds United, sticking up for the fans of the club to protest against these terrible owners that are destroying football. So if that's Liverpool's last game in the Premier League, then it shapes the future of European football, not just English football to come. But Terry, big up yourself, big up the Terrace. We've got a game tomorrow. We'll hopefully get 3 points. But if I'm being completely honest, it's quite a somber mood because, like I said a couple of streams ago, it feels like, my league, my lower leagues could be destroyed by this, and we could end up going into a non-league situation.
Everybody could, absolutely. Listen, mate, nice chatting to you again, my bro.
Great to talk to you.
Top man, thank you. Next up on the show, man like Gems in the house. What you saying, mate?
Yes, bro. How you doing? You good?
I'm all right. I'm exhausted, if I'm being honest. And it's going to be even more tomorrow with the Premier League meeting in the morning and all other things being said. So, yeah, it's going to be mad.
Yeah. I'm going to bore you, Steph, because we've probably been talking about it all blooming day, like you said. So you've heard every angle of this blooming situation. I think the most evident thing with it all is that there's so much that still needs to be answered. When you think about it, there's a lot that's came out, but there's not really been any clarifications to a lot of the questions that we're sort of waiting for. From my perspective, as a Chelsea fan, looking at it as a Chelsea fan, like you alluded to earlier, for me it was just the timing of it, Terry. I know everyone was very focused about the league itself and what it will bring in terms of the teams that are in it, the competition side of it, not really having any sort of competition. The fact that there's no relegations, there was no rivalry involved in it. It was going to be no this, that, and the other. Fine, but for me, the thing that pissed me off the most was just the timing of it, because we're in a semi-final of the Champions League. Think of it as a Chelsea fan, right? We're in a semi-final of the Champions League. We're in a final of an FA Cup, and we're fighting for Champions League, which could just be pointless right now. Anyway, the UEFA have already announced that they've spoken to their legal team about kicking us out of it, Real Madrid out of it, etc., etc. So our football club have decided to just go all guns blazing into this deal with the Super League without thinking about the repercussions. And the repercussions are you're playing with the opportunity of Chelsea and their history of them actually being able to go and win a blimmin' trophy, a major trophy, a trophy that we've only ever won once in our history. So you're going to throw that all aside just to go and jump into a league and sign up with them. For me, yeah, it's money driven. But then if they do continue with that and they don't pull out of this, that is a disgrace. From our perspective as a football club, as a fucking disgrace, because we've got an opportunity to win, not only be one up on the Champions League, but win our second Champions League, which for me would be probably one of the biggest Champions Leagues we'd ever have won, other than our first one. And in terms of any trophy that we've won since Roman Abramovich came to Chelsea in 2004. So that's what's fumigated me the most with the situation, bro. More than anything, is that we're allowing, UEFA to be able to do this to us, and by the looks of it, at the moment, there's going to be no action to it as well. So
if this all goes wrong, in terms of if the Premier League and UEFA don't bluff, and legally they can do what they want to do, by the end of the week, you could be out of all competitions, and so could Man United, Arsenal. This meeting tomorrow is going to be really interesting. Remember, it only takes 14 clubs to vote on a change to league status and league rules, and there's 4. If they didn't use their brains, they should have brought another bloody club along for this Super League, so that they couldn't have got themselves voted out. Like that's what I mean. Maybe they have thought this through and they know what's going to happen. As it were, because as Paris said tonight, the Palace chairman, they want these guys. They don't want them gone. They want them back because Palace and Everton and Fulham and Leeds and Newcastle know how important the big six are to them as well. It's just a big power play, but it's a distraction. And it's that distraction of what if this happens for a few weeks, and by the time it's all resolved, Chelsea's players and Liverpool's players and Man United's players lose their heads, go out of these tournaments, and it's like, just ruin their own seasons.
Exactly.
It's going to be mad, mate. It really, really is.
Just quickly, on top of that as well, the other thing that I think is unfair, and I'm talking about every team that's been pulled into this league, or that, their clubs have agreed to go into this league, is that the managers have to answer for it. Why the fuck should the managers have to answer this when they've already got, seasons to deal with, competitions to still get involved with? That's what they should be concentrating on. The board, the people that have decided to go ahead with this, should be coming out and if they're fully backing it, bring out a statement as to why they're backing it, and not allow their managers to answer for this, whether it was Klopp, Tuchel, Ollie, whoever it is. And that's another thing that's really pissed me off, is that the managers now have to take the burden of this. Do you know what I mean, as well? So
I agree, especially as you say, they weren't consulted. They don't even know what's going on.
Exactly.
And they've got to face the public. It's and why these owners can just scurry off under a rock,
exactly,
keep their heads down and everything else. But listen, everyone that's tuned in with us this evening, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. It means a great deal to us. Back tomorrow. I'm actually in London very, very early tomorrow, but I will be streaming as ever, as and when news breaks. So until then, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very